Kids go to college in order to learn what they need in order to pursue the career that they want and to make money. However, what group of college kids actually brings in $1.1 billion of revenue a year? The answer to that question would be college athletes. The NCAA is a money-making machine. Back in 2017, their revenue topped over $1.1 billion. Now, who really brings in this money? Sure, athletic directors, coaches, and other NCAA officials play a large role. However, the people that are really pulling this money in are the athletes. Yet, it is against NCAA regulations for these athletes to receive any money for their talents, including endorsement money. When you take into consideration the financial value that they add to their universities, the time and work that's required to be a college athlete, and how much the NCAA and college sports as a whole would improve, undoubtedly college athletes deserve to be paid. The average college makes about $63.6 million of revenue a year from athletics, with the bigger schools making over $200 million of revenue. While about half of this revenue is coming from football, it shows how much value these sports bring to these universities. Without the athletes, none of this money would ever even be made in the first place. Now, schools make a ton of money off of branding. For big name schools such as Penn State, Michigan, or Ohio State, you can find people wearing football and basketball clothing all over the country. You can even find people wearing players' names and numbers on the back of jerseys, and the people that are building these brands are the players, yet they can't even receive compensation for their own jersey sales. Additionally, huge brands such as Nike and Adidas pay significant amounts of money to schools in order to be the brand that makes their apparel on field or on the court. For example, back in 2018, Adidas paid UCLA over $11 million in order to be their brand. However, none of this money ever makes its way to the players. And when you consider the sacrifice that these athletes are making in order to bring this money in for their schools, the case for paying them becomes even stronger. Being a college athlete isn't all fun. In order to play football, basketball, to wrestle, to play softball, or to be a cheerleader, or so on, it takes a lot of time and commitment. According to NCAA.org, the average college athlete spends 37.3 hours per week on academics and 35.4 hours per week on athletics. When you take these numbers into consideration, that leaves such little time, if any time at all, for a job. Being a college athlete is having a job within itself. Now let's take a look at this chart that can be found at NCAA.org. The chart breaks down the mean hours spent per week for Division I athletes, and it's broken down into percentages for each activity. Now, outside of sleeping, which is the largest category, the two most overwhelming categories are academic activities and athletic activities. Now, that leaves way less time for other activities for normal people, such as socializing or even earning money through a job. And these athletes are sacrificing doing these things just in order to play their sport. Now, not only is being a college athlete time consuming, it takes a huge amount of drive and time. And because of this, many athletes suffer major injuries throughout their careers. Now, for the big time athletes who have their sights set on the pros, this can significantly alter the amount of money they can make throughout their career. This shows that playing a sport with full dedication and drive without receiving full compensation is a huge risk for these big athletes. Believe it or not, students aren't even the only ones that would benefit from being paid. The NCAA and college sports as a whole would significantly improve. For example, college basketball has a huge problem. Many players are going straight to the G League, which is essentially minor league basketball. Now, players that choose this option over the college option are able to receive full salaries and get endorsement deals. Because of this development, the NCAA is losing out on many top recruits, and this has the potential to spill into other sports as well, such as football. Allowing the athletes to be paid at the college level would completely eliminate this issue. Another example is a major problem where there are major scandals for big schools that are being accused of paying recruits to come to their schools. Now, this not only penalizes the schools, but it even penalizes the players. And this can completely alter a player's career, which is completely unfair. Allowing players to be paid would eliminate this problem in total as well, and it would even level the playing field for recruiting. Now, being a college athlete takes the full commitment. And while many athletes are rewarded with scholarships or the potential to go pro. They're not receiving the full compensation that they deserve at the college level. The NCAA is more than capable of paying these athletes, even if it means paying certain sports or teams less money than others. And with the current state of the NCAA, players are being taken advantage of and being used for their talents. Is that really what these players deserve who are giving it all to their universities?